Hello everyone, and welcome back to one of those videos I've been promising you for a while. So, I have my phase change unit attached to the GTX 480 that I modified a while ago, and I'm now pulling it down to sub-zero. Which you can kind of see the trend here. So that's the onboard GPU sensor. It actually sometimes works sub-zero, but most of the time it doesn't. And we see slightly under 10 degrees of separation between the die and the thermal probe inside the evaporator, which is consistent with what I usually see. So phase change unit. I've made a video about that before. I've made a video about this card before. My installation job is fairly simple right now. I will probably put some stuff on the back once it gets wet there. And I also added this LED strip back to the test bench so you can actually see something. Not that I have two cameras though. So I will attach the camera to this and then film the screen. I also pull it down. And here you can actually see how the temperature sensor works sub-zero right now. Now it's just like a few degrees, 25, yeah, it's very spot on right now. Huh. Yeah, but this sensor usually stops working after a while when it's sub-zero. You can see how low we can get it though. And then once we're finished, I'll do some more benching. Not going for scores today, going for frequency. And the frequency to beat is 1.09 gigahertz, or just 10 megahertz under 1100. And you can see we're slightly plateauing now. The coldest this gets is about minus 57, is the coldest I've seen so far on this sensor. So the coldest I've seen on this sensor is minus 57, but that was idle. Under load for for a high wattage card like a 480, the coldest is probably around 52 to 48. What I can sustain under load with this. So we see we have like minus 55 now, and now it starts to separate a bit again. Minus 47 here. Could also just be the sensor like starting to bug out, because under minus 50 it just like when it even goes under under zero. It usually doesn't go under zero anyway, but like yeah. I will be, yeah, there we are, minus 57. That's about like colder than this it will not go. I can let the card sit a bit and let it soak slightly so that you can see all the ice is building up. I can let it sit a bit and let it build up a bigger layer of that. But yeah, I'll be putting on the camera now, so you can see properly. So here we are again. Camera is now rigged in place. You can see I have both my hands free now. Temperature. Oh, the thermal probe cable is not long enough, so I'm just gonna have to take my word for it. We are at still around minus 55. Minus 57 is more peakish. Minus 55 is more the sustained amount. You can see the sensor has now plateaued as well, minus 46. And I suppose let's start doing some overclocking. So voltage here is set to the maximum. We are not actually running 1.2 volts into this. The card is volt modded. I made a video about that, how I attached the mod. And it should still be set to 1.3 volts. I will sanity check that. Let's just get GPU-Z here, and then off screen I'll get my multimeter. Yeah, this says 0. Usually the temperature sensor looks like this. MS Afterburner for some reason has a readout. Though we don't really know how accurate that is. As you can see, it like went up a lot, just like setting the card into 3D mode for a second. It like that's 10 degrees difference for just, well, I don't really know. So I'll be putting that on. And let's check our vCore. Yep. 1.3 volts. Okay. We will actually need NVIDIA Inspector for this, so let's just get rid of Afterburner. Because Afterburner doesn't actually... Did we just crash the card? Yeah. Where is it? Oh boy. Okay. I have a feeling the memory is not too happy about what we're doing right now. Because that's stock. Yeah, the PC just crashed. That's potentially an issue. Because... well, it might also be like water. But I don't see any... I don't see any fluid anywhere. It's dry, like it's minus 30 and it's been soaking for quite a while, like everything is really cold. You can see how the memory is... oh boy. So what we're experiencing here is, actually I did see that it did apply like 2100 on the memory, which the card should do easy. But maybe not at this temperature. So this is quite a good display of what can happen when you add very, very cold temperatures to something. It doesn't always just work, as you can see here. So at around minus 55 degrees, things work differently than they do at ambient. And the electronics we're overclocking at these temperatures are like surely not meant to run at that. Why is my mouse not working? Oh boy. No, keyboard and mouse did not detect. That's bad. Okay, there we are. Because there we go. Turn this off. And now we test if it works. Let's just do a complete stock run. Come on, just... because, I mean, I did have this card cold before and it did not have this behavior. So there could be something wrong. So the changes I've made is the volt mods. And then maybe there's some differences in how this mount compares to the one I had before. So that could be it. I did observe it on the GTX 580 that having a differences in mount, like how good your mount is, can impact stability quite a lot. But it might actually be the higher vCore, or vMem actually. vCore is lower again. It should be around 1. Slightly under 1.2 now with the volt mod. But yeah, like when before, without the memory and core volt mod, the cards ran fine at these temperatures. And let me check once more. Yep, dry. There is we do not have any liquid problems, which, yeah, I mean, the 580 and, well, the 580 was actually, did have some liquid problems. This 480 for now has been very easy to work with. And it runs just fine. If you wonder why it looks like this, the LOD tweak is still active, so we don't have an FPS readout and everything is blocky and the textures look like crap. That's the LOD tweak. It is a driver tweak that is allowed for HWBot, but not for the official 3DMark ranking. Since I care about HWBot, not the 3DMark ranking, I'm fine with running it, but yeah, if you care about your 3DMark placement, then do not use it. Oh, and we crashed again. Okay, we might actually have a memory voltage problem then. That's quite unfortunate, because yeah, we might not, the volt mod might not be doing anything then, because the high voltage apparently makes it worse. So I'll be, this is the one card that I did not put switches on, so I would just have to turn the potentiometer just into off position, basically. So I'll be doing some multimeter stuff. Okay, I've turned the multimeter as far back as it goes. Yeah, I should have put switches on this. Just because the other 480 didn't need switches, I assumed that this one would be fine with higher voltages as well. But yeah, as we could see, the memory apparently doesn't like that. Yeah, so memory volt mod is now turned off as far as it will go. We are still at higher than stock. So stock is 1.6 volts. We are still at 1.64 because, well, even with the potentiometer turned up all the way, it's still a 10 kilo ohm resistor in parallel with the normal feedback circuit. So that still has an effect. To completely turn it off, I would have just had to add a switch. Maybe I'll do that. If memory voltage becomes too big of an issue in this session, I will probably add a switch to this. If it's fine now, like if it at least goes as far as it did before, I will probably not bother. But yeah, so this is why I wanted to make videos like this, where I just record basically the overclocking session. Because things like this can happen, and when you watch like your, well, I mean like the extreme overclockers talk about it, like cold bugs, cold boot bugs, and other issues associated with cold temperatures are nothing new, and there are people talking about it. It's just that most your channels, like your Linus Tech Tips, your Jay's 2 cents, even Gamers Nexus, like they do very in-depth tech stuff, but when it comes to overclocking, you should probably rather go to like Buildzoid or something if you want really in-depth overclocking stuff, not just tech in general. I'm not saying that Steve is bad or anything, it's just that they focus mostly on non-overclocking related stuff on Gamers Nexus, though they are very technical. Did we just lose the card again? We might. Because, yeah, that probably crashed. Oh boy. Keyboard's still on, but it appears we have lost display out. If the memory volt mod now ruined the memory, that will be... It might also just be a mount that's like not good. It could totally be that I just have like one of the screws just like not being on properly, so one part of the die gets very, very hot and not very, very cold. What the hell? Oh, we might have just broken the card. Damn it. Yeah. Well, the card is probably dead. We might have just lost the memory module there. Well, keyboard and mouse are not detected anymore, but you can see like the drivers not detected. Okay, this video might be short. well, I guess you're not getting the video I wanted to do. I could still upload this. This is still valid for what could happen to you if you overclock Sub-Zero. Actually, I don't like. It could be that the card just was faulty the entire time. Because so this is one of 4 GTX 480s that I have. They are disposable, which is why I'm not really upset about this one dying. Though it did overclock pretty well. But I'm not super upset about this card dying because I have 3 other 480s that all overclock the same at ambient. So they might as well be as good for Sub-Zero. So if you're wondering why I'm not super upset about the card dying, that's why. Which one is it? Is it... I think this one. Let's just run maths. Yeah, let's run maths. Let's see if we actually lost the memory module there. Because sometimes the card just initializes in a weird way, and that can cause the same thing. Like, it looks like the memory died. We'll find out here. Like, so far everything looks good, but it might just be like very minor errors. So if the BIOS might look good, but once you try to load the driver, it's just dead. Yeah. I guess I'll still upload this even if the video ends with the card being dead, because, well, there's always a risk of cards dying, and this card might even be one of those that I got... No, we passed. Okay. The card might not be... So, there's no memory-related issue then. We could still have broken the BGA with a really bad mount. Or we might just have water somewhere where it's not supposed to be, though this thing is at -55 and water should be ice. Anywhere where it's not, there should be insulation, like in the border regions where it's getting warm again. Yeah, like it's loading the driver right now. Might just have been a weird fluke. Yeah, because if I look for like water... Nope, it's still good. It's good. Yeah, there we are, the driver is back. Do we have Heaven on that? No. Can I install Heaven on this? I should just have a random... There we are. Because Heaven is like continuous and doesn't like load in, then play a scene and then load another. Oh wait. Ah! I want it in window mode. No. Don't crash. Please don't crash. Yeah. So the thing I wanted to say is, those 4 GTX 580s I have, I don't remember how I got them. Like, I bought them all at some point, but I don't know what state I got them in. The only thing that I know is the last time I benched them, all of them worked. So these cards might have been perfectly fine. They might have been sold as dead, but then you tested them and they just worked, or maybe even they got heat gunned. I don't really heat gun cards, not anymore at least. I did it on a couple 580s that I wanted to turn into E-powers anyway, just to see how long such a fix works. The answer is not for long. So I don't think any of these 480s are heat gun. No, actually they might be. I had them for like quite a while. It could be that some of these 480s were also E-power candidates that just ended up working after heat gun and like so far haven't stopped working. So maybe this is about to drop dead again. Also, I do not know if we can trust that temperature readout right now, because the thermal probe in the phase change is still at -49. And The ice behind the core is getting less, but there's still a lot of it, so... This might... like, if this temperature reading is correct, then my mount is completely messed up. Because this should be at like minus 30 right now, at least. If not minus 40. Like, it shouldn't be bigger than like 20 degrees difference from your evaporator. I should just put a thermal probe like directly behind the core on like a V-core pad. But yeah, that like... Well... Let's see if we can actually run like... So this should easily work. And it does. I actually don't... I think 2300. But just about there is where the card stopped before the volt mod. Oh. Yeah. So we have lost memory clock. If that's due to the volt mod or just the card being barely alive, I don't know at this point. But we have crashed the system completely again. Okay. Yeah, memory issues, not fun. We can still work with this. I just want to see core clock actually. Like, memory clock on these cards is not worth much. Now we have this again. Like no, I want... Maybe there is a bit of fluid somewhere. Or maybe the card is just dying. I'm thinking... Am I gonna try that? Okay, I'm gonna try that. Oh shit, that turns off the phase change as well. Oops. Just have the phase change not. The compressor doesn't like to be turned off and then turned on again immediately. So let's let it sit for a bit until all the ice turns into liquid and turn it on again. Let's just see if the card works first. If it doesn't, then I'll just end it here. And no, works again, kinda. Okay, compressor, please work. Yay. Nope, no. Okay, I think you can still hear the phase change happening. Alright, session's over. Shorter than I expected, though that might be working in my favor. The camera's quite low on battery, actually. Where did I put the toilet paper? Let's just put that behind the core so we don't have anything dripping down to the slot. Yeah, so the card may be dead. I'll have to investigate. Like, just put an ambient cooler on it and then can I actually just... There we go. Just have the camera like not fall off. All right. That off. Ground. Power. I would actually like to have the card out of the system. That's a not, no way, I pre-tested the card before, so can't be damage from the last Sub-Zero session. It has to be something in combination with the cold. What's that latch? There it is. Oh, the PCI Express slot might actually be filled with water. Maybe that's the issue. Down. How's our... Oh, that's dry. Yeah, that's dry. Okay, it's not the PCI Express slot. Like the two pieces that were directly behind the core are a bit wet, because once you turn off the phase change, the temperature goes back to positive really quickly. So the ice like melts after like 10 seconds of turning the phase change off. If there's like not heat stored in the card. So when we had the phase change off before, that was more than 10 seconds and it didn't melt. Because it was sitting cold for a long time. So the card probably still had some cold in it, but like when you have something that's producing heat or not storing a lot of heat, and then it just gets, yeah, unfreezes instantly basically. Okay. Yeah, so in this for now sub 30-minute video, we might have killed a graphics card, and we didn't get anything done actually. The reason why I'm not upset first is because all these 480s are disposable, and I do not particularly care about them. Though I was quite proud of the mods I put on this one, especially the cap mods, like, and the installation also worked great. Anyway, so the main thing I wanted to do with these videos, where I just record myself overclocking something, is well, first they serve as replacements for streams because my internet is too bad to live stream, which might actually get solved sooner than later because we are getting better internet, I just don't know when. But when we do, I will be able to stream. And also mentioning that I am looking into getting a capture card and a OBS compatible, like a webcam, so I can use OBS, not a smartphone. So I could actually do streams soonish. But what I also wanted to do with this video is like to just kind of show what all can happen when overclocking. And one thing that can happen is, well, a card just randomly drops dead on you. It doesn't mean the card is dead. It could be like, you see how maths passed, and usually cards don't like die alive, dead alive, dead alive, dead alive from boot to boot. When they die proper. Usually, sometimes they are barely stable enough to still run the drivers, but like as soon as you put a load on them, they usually crash. And this one still worked fine stock, but that's when you overclocked it, the issue became more apparent because we lost maximum frequency. So the card might actually be alive. It could be that the mount was bad, so the memory controller portion, which is very important on Fermi series, especially for 80s. Maybe that just didn't get good thermal transfer and maybe it got too hot, and that's where the instability comes from. It could be that maybe there's some liquid somewhere, that maybe my insulation has a hole somewhere and something got wet that's not supposed to get wet. Or it has something to do with the volt mods we did. So yeah, there's a multitude of things that could be the cause, but yeah, that's one of the things that can happen. Extreme overclocking, there's a lot of unknowns, there's a lot of things that are not documented, and then there's a lot of variables that exist. So basically every time you do something like this, it's kind of like discovering things for yourself. Like, people can tell you about trends, what usually happens, but your hardware is your hardware. and your hardware is unique from everyone else's. It might be similar, but it might not be. So yeah, so you just have to do a lot of testing, and sometimes your runs end like this, where, well, the card might actually be dead, but for sure we did not get anything done. So yeah, I guess what you should take away from this video is things are not as easy as you might think they are from like watching Linus Tech Tips or Jay's 2 cents overclock things. They do a lot of editing, and I assume they also have a lot of footage where they just are frustrated at things like this. Yeah, so like, take away from this video that things are not as easy as they look, and you just have to be scientific about it. Like, think about this. What could be the cause of this? What are potential fixes? Then you test for things, you test different things, like basically I should put the card on an ambient heatsink now and see if the issue still exists. If it doesn't, then I know that the code has something to do with it. Then I could try like completely disconnecting the volt mods again, like basically restoring the card to its state where it worked cold before, and then see if it's that, and just, yeah, like be smart about solving problems. Basically, it's kind of like an engineering challenge, or just an anything challenge. Just, you need problem solving skills, basically. So yeah, I guess it's a shorter video. Well, is this the first? I did like a couple other long format videos where I just overclock things before, but I don't know if this becomes like a series for itself. I'm just gonna, I don't know. But I'm planning to make more of these videos. Maybe soon with using a capture card and OBS and stuff, so yeah, quality could improve drastically in the coming weeks. But for now, well, shit happens. I am very happy that this was not an RTX 3090 and instead well, you can get these for like 10 euros from time to time, a GTX 480. So yeah, I'm not really upset if the card ends up dead, but there's still a lot of other things that could also cause the problem. And as I said, there's just gonna be some testing involved now, some just some problem solving and figuring out what's wrong with the card, or maybe if it's just time to move on to the next GTX 480 and potentially kill that one too. Anyway, I'm just rambling on now, so I hope you could take away something from this video. That, yeah, I mean, it should be an sort of interesting insight into what happens when it's not a 10-minute video with just the highlights in it. So yeah, I hope this is worth something to someone out there. And until next time, when hopefully we will get better results. Goodbye.